Hi, friends.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you again. Miss Rebecca, we ended our story last time at a very, very scary spot, and I want to hear more about it.
Oh, you do? Do you guys want to hear more about it too? Oh, okay. Well, if you guys remember, and for those of you who don't, we were talking about how Jesus was arrested in the garden. And he was taken away by a whole bunch of soldiers. And we're going to find out what happened to him next.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so you guys, this is a very important story. That's why I'm jumping right into it this week and why I think it's good for us to listen very carefully this week to what Jesus is doing in our story today. Because you see, friends, all of history leading up to this point, even during the time of creation, God knew what he was doing, and he had all of this planned from the very, very beginning.
Okay, so we can start now?
We can start now. So friends, Jesus, remember, had been arrested, and had he done anything wrong?
Nope, he hadn't done anything wrong.
That's right, he hadn't. He hadn't done anything wrong at all. And he went through a trial where people bore false witness against him. Do you know what that means?
I know I don't.
Okay, well, it means that people lied about things that he did. And that way they were trying to get him in big trouble. Some of the authorities, they said, oh no, he hasn't done anything wrong. But there were people in the Jewish community, like the Pharisees, that really wanted to see him done away with. They wanted to get rid of him. They thought he was the threat. And so they did everything they could to get rid of him, which means in the end, he was put before in a trial and he was found guilty. Now, he wasn't actually guilty of anything bad, right?
Yeah, that's right. He hadn't done anything wrong.
That's right. But his punishment was going to be killed on a cross. He was going to have to die on a cross.
Oh, so what does that mean that he was going to have to die on a cross?
Well, a punishment for the worst criminals during the time in Roman times when Jesus was alive. The worst criminals, their punishment when they were found guilty was to be put up on this big piece of wood. And they would be nailed to the wood. It was a very painful, scary, sad way to die.
And Jesus did that?
Mm-hmm. Jesus did that. So friends, Jesus had to climb up a hill. And at the top of that hill, they put his cross into the earth. And there were other crosses as well on that hill.
Oh, you mean he wasn't the only one being punished that day?
That's right. He was not the only one being punished that day. In fact, there were other criminals that were being punished. And we'll get to that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. The Bible talks about them. So I'm going to read to you from Luke, okay? The book of Luke in the Bible.
Oh, did Luke know Jesus?
Well, Luke was one of the followers after Jesus, after all of this happened. But he wrote a lot of wonderful things about Jesus' life. It says in Luke chapter 23, verse 32 is where we're going to start.
Oh, where is that?
Oh, it's right here.
Oh, okay.
There were also two criminals led out with Jesus to be killed. Jesus and the two criminals were taken to a place called the Skull.
Oh, like the bone in your head?
Mm-hmm. Because the hill looked like a skull. That's why it was called the Skull. There the soldiers nailed Jesus to his cross.
Oh, that sounds like it really, really hurt.
It did very much hurt. If you've ever gotten a splinter or a paper cut, it hurts so much worse than that to have a nail put in his hands. They also nailed the criminals to their crosses. One beside Jesus on the right, and the other beside Jesus on the left.
Oh, just like in your picture there.
That's right, just like in my picture over here. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing."
You mean Jesus was asking God to forgive the people who are putting him on the cross?
Mm-hmm. It says the soldiers threw lots to decide who would get his clothes. The people stood there watching. The leaders made fun of Jesus. They said, if he is God's chosen one, the Christ, then let him save himself. He saved other people, didn't he?
Oh, they're making fun of him.
They are.
But he can't do anything about it. He's up on the cross already. Why can't they just leave him alone?
They were making fun of him in so many ways. They were being so mean to him. You see, even the soldiers made fun of him. They came to Jesus and offered him some vinegar. They said, "If you are the king of the Jews, save yourself." At the top of the cross, these words were written, "This is the king of the Jews." And one of the criminals began to shout insults at Jesus.
Wait. The criminal who was dying on the cross with him, he was making fun of Jesus?
He was. He said, "Aren't you the Christ? Then save yourself and save us too."
Oh, he doesn't sound like a very nice person at all.
No, he probably wasn't. But you know what? Here's a really cool thing. The other criminal stopped him.
He did?
He said, "You should fear God. You are getting the same punishment as he is. We are punished justly. We should die. But this man has done nothing wrong."
Oh, he knew that Jesus was innocent on the cross?
He did. Then this criminal said to Jesus, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Then Jesus said to him, "Listen, what I say is true. Today you will be with me in paradise." Yeah. It was about noon, and the whole land became dark until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There was no sun. The curtain in the temple was torn into 2 pieces. Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Father, I give you my life." And after Jesus said this, he died.
Part of the story always makes me very sad.
It should make us sad. It should make us very sad to know that God himself, who had already humbled himself, had given up his throne and his power and everything to make himself into a tiny little baby. Now he'd grown up into a man, and a good man who was doing beautiful, wonderful, miraculous things and teaching people amazing things, giving them a freedom they had never felt before. And now his punishment for doing all of those good things is to get up on the cross and die? That seems like a very unfair, sad, mean thing to happen.
Yeah, I don't like it one bit.
I don't like it one bit either. But you know what, Frido? I want you to think about this. All of those people who were mocking Jesus, they said, "You healed all these other people. Why can't you get yourself down?" Do you think Jesus could have gotten himself down?
Friends, what do you think? Could Jesus have gotten down from that cross if he wanted to? I think he could. I think he could have done it.
I think you're right. In fact, we know Jesus, with all the power, all the miracles he had done before, he must have had the power to get down from that cross himself. But he chose to stay up on that cross. And he chose to do it for the people mocking him, the people who were making fun of him. He chose to do it for the criminal that was next to him on the cross, the criminal who had done horrible things in his life. And his punishment was to die because of the bad things he did. Jesus was on that cross, dying for all the bad things that we did. And Jesus was on the cross, dying there for you, friends, and for me, and for you, Frido.
Yeah, he could have gotten down at any time, but he didn't?
Nope. He had a lot of pain, and he was probably so tired, so thirsty, so hungry.
And he still stayed up there because he loves me? And because he loves my friends?
Friends, I want you to think about the criminal on the cross. The one who told the other criminal to stop talking, stop making fun of him. That criminal saw something in Jesus. And what's really, really cool is we see with this criminal, he tells Jesus, "Jesus, I want you to remember me." And Jesus gives him grace.
Grace?
He says, "Listen, what I say is true." Jesus says, "What I say is true," which means what I'm going to say happens.
Okay.
He says, "Today you will be with me in paradise."
So what does that mean?
That means that when that criminal died on the cross, that he was going to be in heaven with Jesus.
But he didn't do anything to get into heaven. He was up on the cross already. He had already done really bad things, and he was on the cross, and he was gonna go to heaven? But I don't understand. He didn't do anything to get to go to heaven.
That's exactly right. It says in the Bible that nothing we can do will get us to heaven. We can love Jesus and then try to do really, really good things and try to not lie, try to share, try to be kind to other people. And those are beautiful, good things that God wants us to do. But those things do not get us into heaven. Those things do not give us the relationship with Jesus. Knowing that Jesus is the one who loves us and was perfect and died on the cross for us. Knowing that we deserve to die on the cross and not him. Those things are what give us a place with Jesus, have a relationship with him. And God teaches us those things. He changes our heart just like he changed the criminal's heart. Oh, wow. So God changed the criminal's heart and he changed my heart and he changed your heart so that we can love him the way that he loves us. Now, we'll never do that perfectly. I don't think we could ever get up on the cross to die for all the entire world when we haven't done anything wrong. But that's exactly what our God did because he loves us so, so much. And friends, that is so important for us to know. This is the piece, the main piece of our whole life, our whole faith, all of creation. If what Jesus did on the cross never happened, then what's the point? We can't have a relationship with God. We will always, always not be good enough. No matter how much good things we do, we will never, ever, ever be good enough. But Jesus, when we reach up and try as hard as we can to reach heaven, Jesus reaches down and grabs us instead. He rescues us because we can never touch heaven, but Jesus pulls us up so that we can be with him. And he did that by dying on the cross for us.
Oh, so it is super important that he had to go through so much scaredness and sadness and pain and all of those things and die for us?
Mm-hmm. For us. Now, friends, it's very important. I want you to talk with your parents about how important it is that Jesus died on the cross for you and died on the cross for your parents. It's so, so important that we know in our hearts that we deserve to be on that cross for all the things that we have done. But according to God's mercy, he saved us. He reached down and rescued us. And we know that this isn't just another man who was doing good things and then died. Because we also know what happens 3 days later. The story doesn't end with Jesus on the cross, friends. The story doesn't end with his death. The story ends with a beautiful celebration. And that is what we are going to be celebrating together as a church all over next week. Every week we have a small celebration of his resurrection, but next week will be Easter, and we will celebrate loudly that our God is risen. He beats death, he beats sin, so that we can be with him forever and ever.
I am so excited to do that. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Oh, I'm very glad at that. But in the meantime, friends, it's so important that this week we remember especially the great sacrifice that our God made for us. Talk with your parents. Pray about it to God to help him make you understand how important you are to him, that he would die for you. I hope you all have a wonderful week thinking about this, talking about it with your parents, and that you talk with God and feel his love in a very real, real way this week. Until next week, friends. Bye.